You know, every once in a while, Hollywood drops a story that feels different. Not loud, not dramatic, not filled with staged paparazzi moments or PR stunts. Just real. And today is one of those days, because there's something happening quietly around Johnny Depp. Something gentle. Something grounded. Something nobody expected. For months, fans have been whispering about a mysterious woman appearing around him. And now people are starting to learn who she really is. And let me tell you, it's not the story anyone expected. This isn't some actress hoping to get headlines. It's not a model chasing fame. It's not a scandal, not a courtroom connection, not a Hollywood fairy tale. It's something different, something a lot more meaningful. And honestly, after everything Johnny has been through, it feels like this story might be exactly what he needed. So if you've been watching Johnny's journey, through the ups, the downs, the struggles, the healing, you're definitely not alone. Millions of people have been rooting for him, watching him rebuild piece by piece like a man slowly putting his soul back together after the world tried to break it. And now, suddenly, there's someone quietly standing beside him. Someone who isn't trying to shine through him, but instead, someone who lets him shine again on his own. And before we go deeper, don't skip. Because the most surprising part, the real twist, is hiding right in the middle of this story. It's subtle. It's soft, but wow, it changes everything. So let's talk about this mysterious woman everyone's whispering about. For months there were little clues, not big paparazzi moments, not dramatic public appearances, just tiny, warm moments. A glance backstage at a musical performance. A private dinner in Europe far away from the noise. A quiet museum visit in Paris. Soft smiles, low-key vibes, like two people who didn't need to show anything to anyone. Fans started asking, who is she? Where did she come from? Why is she always around when Johnny looks the calmest, the happiest, the most peaceful we've seen him in years? And of course, the internet did what the internet does. Theories everywhere. Some guessed she was a lawyer, some thought she was a musician, some said she must be someone from his industry. But it turns out, the truth is so much more surprising than the rumors. She isn't a superstar. She isn't chasing the cameras. She isn't someone who needs the world to notice her. She's an artist. A creative. Someone who understands the world Johnny comes from, but doesn't need to live in its bright lights. Someone private. Someone independent. Someone who sees the person, not the celebrity. And honestly, isn't that the most unexpected thing in Hollywood? Think about it. Nearly every time a big star like Johnny Depp is linked to someone, it's someone from the same loud world. Red carpets, press tours, flashing cameras, headlines, drama. But this time, it's quiet, soft, genuine. Because here's the truth that surprised everyone. She has been in his circle for years. Not as a romantic partner at first. Not as someone chasing anything. Just someone who connected with him as a human being. Someone who felt safe. Someone who understood. And over time, that connection deepened. We all know Johnny's world changed dramatically these past few years. Not just in his career, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Everything he went through, every headline, every judgment, every moment of doubt, it reshaped him. It stripped his life down to the people who were real and pushed away the ones who weren't. And through all of that, this woman wasn't chasing the spotlight. She was just there, quietly, respectfully, privately. She didn't try to be his story. She didn't try to be his shield. She didn't try to be his savior. She just existed in his world without demanding to stand at the center of it. And that kind of presence is rare, especially for someone like him. Someone who spent decades being watched, analyzed, pulled between public opinion and private truth. Someone who lost peace for years and finally seems to be finding it again. Now let's clear a few things up, because rumors fly faster than facts these days. She's not his lawyer. Nope, that chapter of fan theories is closed. She's not a fan romance story. Hollywood loves that trope, but this isn't that. And no, this isn't some publicity situation. If anything, Johnny avoids spotlight romance now more than ever. This connection grew quietly, naturally, privately, and insiders say that's exactly why it matters. He wasn't looking for fame. He wasn't looking for a headline romance. He wasn't chasing youth, beauty, or buzz. He was looking for peace, for calm, for a place he could breathe again. After years of noise, maybe he finally found silence. In the best way. Imagine being in his shoes. You've lived under a microscope your entire adult life. Every relationship you ever had ended up dissected by millions. Every smile, every argument, every rumor becomes a headline. After a while, you don't just want love, you want safety. You want someone who sees the human, not the character. Someone who doesn't want to turn your life into a storyline, and that's who this woman appears to be. Someone who lets him be. Someone who gives him space, not pressure. Someone who encourages his art, his music, his passion, without needing to be part of the stage. Someone who believes in him quietly, without needing applause for it. One source close to Johnny said something that honestly hits deep. They said, Johnny didn't need another spotlight in his life. He needed someone who brings quiet, not noise. And if you've watched his journey, you know that's true. Peace is rare in fame. Peace is priceless when the world has tried to take it from you. Think about that for a second. Imagine living in a world where the lights never turn off. Every smile is examined. Every word is picked apart. Every friend you have is questioned. And every person who steps into your life, the world immediately wants to know why. Fame can give someone the world, but it can also take away the one thing humans need most: silence. A moment to breathe. A moment to just exist without performance, without pressure, without being somebody for everyone. When you've spent decades constantly watched, constantly judged, constantly expected to entertain the world just by existing, the peaceful moments aren't just rare, they're sacred. Johnny lived through some of the loudest years a public figure can face. Court battles. Headlines that twisted his reality. Millions of strangers debating his life, his character, his truth. And even before that, he spent years in Hollywood's machine, a place where noise is constant, where being alone often feels impossible, where stillness is replaced with cameras and schedules and expectations. That kind of life changes a person. It makes you crave what others take for granted. A quiet room, a trusted face, a presence that doesn't want anything except for you to be human. And that's why this comment from the source feels so powerful. He needed someone who brings quiet, not noise. That's not just about silence. It's about peace of mind. It's about emotional quiet. It's about being around a person who doesn't feed chaos, but instead filters it out. Someone who doesn't add drama, but removes it. Someone who doesn't treat you like a headline, but like a heart. In Hollywood, quiet isn't just sound, it's intention. It's energy. It's safety. For someone like Johnny, quiet means trust. Quiet means comfort. Quiet means finally, after everything, being allowed to be a person instead of a story. And that kind of quiet doesn't come from fame. It doesn't come from success. It comes from the right people. The rare ones who don't care about cameras, who don't feel threatened by privacy, who don't want the world to know they're there. They just want to be there. With you, beside you. Not in front of you or behind you, but right next to you, quietly holding space where noise used to live. We don't talk enough about what it does to someone to be misunderstood for years, to have the world question you, to feel like you're constantly shouting your truth into an audience that has already made up its mind. When life finally gives you someone who listens in silence and understands without public validation, it doesn't just feel nice, it feels healing. It feels like coming home. Johnny has always been someone who thrived in creativity, not chaos. He's happiest with a guitar, a paintbrush, a script that challenges him, not with flashing cameras or gossip headlines. And when a person who values art finds someone who respects their quiet, it becomes something deeper than romance. It becomes refuge. It becomes a sanctuary. And after the storms he's faced, that sanctuary is not just love, it's survival. When that source said he needed someone who brings quiet, what they were really saying was this: he needed someone who helps him feel safe again. Someone who sees the human, not the persona. Someone who doesn't drain his energy, but restores it. Someone who isn't impressed by fame because they are impressed by peace. And that kind of connection doesn't just happen. It arrives when life decides you're finally ready to breathe again. People think celebrities always want more attention, more spotlight, more noise, But the truth is, the longer someone stays in the public eye, the more they crave the opposite. Not silence to hide, but silence to heal. Johnny isn't chasing Hollywood highs. He's chasing emotional stillness. And someone walked into his life not to add volume, but to turn the world down. And that's what makes this moment so powerful. It's not loud. It's not flashy. It's not something the media can sensationalize easily, because it's not about drama. It's about rest. It's about rebuilding. It's about learning how to smile without cameras, how to breathe without pressure, how to trust without fear. It's about a man who went through fire, finally sitting in the shade again. Sometimes the loudest love is quiet. Sometimes the most passionate connection isn't explosive. It's steady, calm, gentle. It doesn't scream for attention. It whispers comfort. It doesn't demand, it offers. And maybe that's exactly what Johnny Depp needed. Not someone to match the volume of the world, but someone to mute it. If you've ever been through a storm, you know what it feels like when you finally meet someone who brings peace instead of panic. It doesn't feel dramatic. It feels like exhaling. Like waking up after a long nightmare and realizing the sun is finally rising. That's not Hollywood love. That's real love. And real love, the kind that saves you, is quiet. This woman encouraged him to go back into creativity. Not for the world, but for himself. To paint again. To play music again. To rebuild joy in simple, soft ways. Not public, loud ways. She reminded him who he is without cameras. Without expectations. Without judgment, and you can see it in him. The way he walks now. The way he speaks. The way he carries himself. There's a softness, a quiet confidence, a kind of peace that only comes when someone feels safe again. People say she traveled with him in Europe, offered grounding energy during important events, and quietly celebrated his wins. Not because she needed credit, but because she cared. Because loyalty matters. Because love that doesn't scream often speaks the loudest. And here's the twist I told you about earlier, the part that really surprises everyone. Johnny might actually talk about her soon, not in a dramatic tell-all, not like a Hollywood love reveal, but more like a gentle mention, a hint, a gratitude, a moment of acknowledgement towards someone who helped bring him back to life quietly, not publicly. If he does, it'll be in the way he talks about music, art, life, softly, carefully, with appreciation instead of spectacle. Because this isn't a love story meant for headlines. It's something personal. Something healing, something human. And those are the stories that actually last. Now I want to ask you, do you think finding love in peace instead of chaos is exactly what he needed? Do you believe sometimes the strongest relationships are the quiet ones? And do you think after everything he's been through, this might finally be Johnny's moment to live, not perform? Tell me in the comments. I really want to hear what you think, because stories like this make us reflect too. They remind us that sometimes the best parts of life aren't loud. They're soft. They're slow. They're real. And if someone like Johnny can find peace again, maybe that means anyone can. And hey, before you go, if you love stories like this, stories that look beyond the surface and talk about the human side of fame, then you're in the right place. Tap the like button, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. We explore the truth behind the headlines, not the drama, but the people. And trust me, there is so much more coming in this chapter of Johnny's life. In fact, if you really want to understand how he got here, how he went from chaos and judgment to calm and healing, watch the next video we made. It goes deeper into his comeback, his transformation, and the emotional journey the world rarely sees. Click it. You'll understand this story even more. Thanks for being here, really. It means a lot. And remember, sometimes the quietest love stories are the ones that change everything. See you in the next one.